So next we have Sahil Sahani of LinkCycle, and on deck we have Jim Knoll of Telestech. So go ahead, Sahil, whenever you're ready.
Can everybody hear me? Well, good evening. I'm Sahil Sahani, and I'm representing my company, LinkCycle, born out of MIT. That sounds awesome. The company is born out of MIT, not me. We replace meters used in production facilities for measuring energy, electricity, emissions, water with our patent-pending software. Let's take the example of Samsung Electronics that only knows the total energy used at every facility because there's always a total electricity meter at every building. LinkCycle takes that data, so that's like the total electricity. It takes that data and without any extra data collection, breaks it down into each production line within each facility, thereby telling Samsung what's the energy used or how much energy goes into making the cameras, the speakers, the laptops, the mobile phones. Next slide. So this kind of a meter that you see on the left is present in nearly every manufacturing facility in the world. But now, they don't need to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on these meters, but can use our software for 10% the price. Thus, through a cheaper investment and faster measurement, Samsung can both reduce costs by identifying energy hotspots and increase revenue by communicating their product sustainability to customers like Best Buy that are extremely finicky about the sustainability attributes of the products that they carry. Our algorithms are ready. 18 beta customers are testing it, including Newell Rubbermaid, others. We will sell to these businesses directly and also to others as a plugin in the conventional energy management software. We are negotiating a partnership with all 23 energy management software vendors in the US, including IBM, Cisco, SAP, CA Technologies. Our team includes my partner and myself, who are graduates or who have graduate degrees from MIT in sustainability analytics with prior experience in the same space. A graduating MIT PhD candidate developing our software and algorithms, and an advisory board composed of serial entrepreneurs and MIT professors. For 1 year, we have sold this technology as a consulting service and now need $2 million to convert it into a scalable software. Thank you.
Nice job.
Can I ask if this is being recorded or should I take notes? Or?
This is being recorded.
Okay, great. Makes it easy.
So, Faye, would you like to ask a question?
Sure. So right now, is your software being integrated into all of those other energy management softwares, or are you pulling it in? So are you a plugin for them, or are you providing your own solution and then it integrates with them?
Could you go to the next slide, please? Okay, stay on this slide. Right now we have the algorithms, so these are codes at the back, and we've been improving them for the past 1 year and doing a lot of market research and validating. So the way we've been servicing right now is through a consulting model. So I go to Samsung, for example, and I tell them this is what I'm going to do. They give me the data, I give them the results, and we talk about the utility, and ideally we're trying to see if they would give us money to build them software. So the front end is not developed. The back end is there and it's been doing well, and with 18 companies we are continuing to do that. At the same time, so you could sell this back end by putting the front end on it to these final businesses like Samsung directly. At the same time, we are talking with these energy management systems or energy management software that are out there to create a plugin for them, because these guys already monitor the total energy at each facility. So you can see what's the energy at the corporate level broken down into each facility. And then our plugin will come and tell them that for each facility, what's the breakdown at each production line. And so there's higher resolution to do that. Does that answer your question? It doesn't.
So does it work?
It's been working well.
How do you know?
Well, so we test it. So because my PhD is in the space of measuring the footprint of products at these, and so I check it with literature data. And we basically check for accuracy. So how accurate is the number that our algorithm gives for the energy used for that production line with respect to secondary data, literature data. And secondly, we check how accurately does the algorithm say that it's accurate. Is it a false alarm or is it a
So if I understand this correctly, this is Samsung making phones, and the Samsung phone line uses a certain amount of energy. They can measure that and see if you got the right answer, couldn't
They could, but to measure that, you would have to do one of the two
they?
options.
Just put one more meter in.
Exactly. So the phone does not only use one production line. It probably uses maybe 50 to 100 production lines, that phone alone. And so now you're talking 50 to 100 meters, and that's only for energy. If you're also interested in natural gas, or if you're also interested in emissions, then you're talking a factor of. And that's why the investment in meters is very high. A normal Honeywell meter would cost you somewhere around $200. But if you factor in installation, labor, and the fact that it has to be connected to the company database, it goes up to somewhere around $750.
So I'm not thinking about that, I'm just thinking about proving your value proposition.
Okay, yeah. So the answer is it works.
Stealing this. So say I'm a facility owner and I already have my meters installed. You're coming in and you're telling me that I should uninstall those, that your solution is better, or is it really just, you know, trying to add on those extra capabilities? Say I wasn't measuring something before. I mean, what is currently being measured versus, you know, what you're measuring?
What's currently, if you go to the previous slide, what's currently being measured is on the left. So I'm talking as a majority of businesses. That's the total energy at the facility level. So the highest resolution you have is which facility is taking maximum energy, producing maximum CO2, et cetera, et cetera. There are some companies out there that have sub-meters. These are just meters at production lines within, say you have 500 meters within your manufacturing facility. There's some companies that are making that investment, but most are not, because it's a high investment up front and you don't know where to install. You don't want to put it in every production line in every facility. You're talking thousands of meters. And so this is where industry stands right now. To go there, we are helping them go there without going through the sub-meter route.
Just one quick question. What type of metadata do you need from a plant as you sort of take that meter input of electricity and energy uses?
So I'll take the data that is the total energy used by the plant, which is in that meter that the utility records. And then I'll take the data for their output from the ERP system, the output from each production line, and I use nonlinear regression and some machine learning such that it tells me how the marginal output. You got it. Okay.
Would you like to take any questions from the audience? Does anyone in the audience have a question? Yes, sir.
So, without putting all of the meters out there you're trying to determine how much energy is used. So, how exactly do you make that?
And,
How do I do that?
And please repeat the question.
Yeah, so the question is that how do I actually tell the energy breakdown at each production line without measuring that? And the way I do it is that I use I'm telling you partially the secret sauce, but I'm using nonlinear regression algorithms. What that means is that, say you have a facility, and what's available on the facility is a meter, which is recording the total energy, and that's changing over time. And one of the major drivers for a manufacturing facility that causes the change is the production volume from each production line changing based on the demand. And so now we take two pieces of data. One is that data from that meter that already exists, the total energy varying over time. And then we take the output from each production line, which also varies over time, which is already in the ER. Obviously, those are costs. And that answers the question?
I think so.
Okay.
So how many of what percentage that you can
Absolutely. So I'll tell you, we can get, for 90% of the products, 95% accuracy if the number of observations is over time is 5 times the number of production lines. So we've ran a lot of research. We're publishing this in a big paper right now.
We have time for one more question.
Yes, so we've checked it with secondary availability. Yeah, so that's how we check the accuracy.
We'll move this. One more question in the back. Yes, sir.
So when you don't have ERP data, say for an office building or a data center, have you thought of how you can substitute another data set to get to nonlinear regression analysis?
I'll be very surprised if a business does
Please
not.
repeat the question.
Yeah. So if I don't have ERP systems out there, or there's that data not available, then how do I manage? Is that right?
Yeah.
I'll be very surprised if a business does not record the amount that they produce. I mean, that's exactly their sales. Production, inventory, sales, whatever they take. And so I'll be very surprised if they may not have SAP to do that, but they'll have something that does that. And so we may connect to SAP, or we may connect to those Excel files. We can connect to them over time, and it becomes automated.
So now we'll move into the feedback session. So either anyone who would like to jump in, any order?
Yes, so I think to really grow as a company, you have to think about how large is the market you're really addressing and how much manufacturing can you touch. So I think one link might be to link yourself to regulatory and say some of the data you're generating of an overall carbon footprint of the product, is that really acceptable for a regulatory agency to say this is really sort of an LCA analysis? And then the other thing I'd say, if you really want to grow, can you go and use your algorithm and your experience on other assets, as how much energy does a hotel use, and can you give any recommendations what their peak usage is, and see whether you can build it that way, because you might have initial customers now, but how do you really grow from there and find applications for the algorithm based on the experience?
Just briefly, I'd say really good presentation, again, for all teams. Love how you talked about the team itself. And I think it seems like you're a bit further along. You have those beta customers. Definitely talk about that, as a proof point. Talk about that feedback. I think it's really positive.
I think we're in the nerd center. You can say linear regression and not be ashamed of it. It's fine. Your universe of customers, this feels like a plug-in to other people's software, when I think about it. It's adding value to software that already exists right now, and I think it's adding actually meaningful value, but you have to think about what that means for you as a company. And are you going to own these customers, or essentially you're going to be sort of behind in the back of the software?
So one comment possibly addressing that is, would you be able to serve the suppliers of these Fortune 500 companies? So all the large companies require their suppliers, their vendors, to submit sustainability metrics to them. Could you essentially just sell to the suppliers and own that market? So being the bridge between the suppliers and the larger entity, whether it's Walmart or any of the companies that you listed, and then integrating neatly into the existing sustainability management or energy management systems that they're already using.
That's what we're doing. That's a scaling model. So all of our customers are integrated with that.
No responses here. You're just listening.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. I think that's all we have some winners. So I'm going to announce the startups first, third place, second place, first place, and then I'll announce the panel winner. So come on up in front and accept your prize and accolades. So in third place, Gabrielle Martinez of Clean Crowd. Gabrielle. Congratulations. Second place, second most votes from you all tonight. Sahil Sahani of LinkCycle. Sahil. Running from the back of the room all the way. It's a marathon. And the number one top startup, your choice, is Scott Friedman of Green of Eyes. Scott Friedman. Congratulations to you. Yeah. So, and really the ultimate prize of the day is the Best Panelist Award. Audience choice, your favorite of the audience choice for best feedback, and that is Willem Rensink of Shell Game Changer.